Hello, 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 hello. Are you thinking that all of this crazy politics that's happening right now will have absolutely, positively nothing to do with your business? You are going to be moving along A-OK, has no impact on you. Boy, do I have some truth telling for you this evening. Hail to the yeah, it impacts your business. And we're going to break down tonight exactly how. Welcome, welcome, welcome to tonight's little insights that I'm about to give you guys. Listen, I first want to start off by saying, in terms of the insights here, we are less than 24 full hours in, right? Yeah. Yeah, what's to do? Today is Tuesday, so he was in 12 noon, a little bit more than 24 hours in, not 48 yet, okay? But we're just a little over 24 hours in, and the shenanigans has already started, all right? So let's talk about how this new administration is going to, in all seriousness, if you are anything other than a white, straight man, it's going to impact your business. And we are going to take a minute tonight to break down exactly how, but more importantly, what you can do about it. Welcome, welcome, welcome here this evening. In case I am brand new to you, my name is Dr. Avis. I am the creator of a brand new training, and I want to really dig into this for a minute. It's not only a brand new training. Someone who has, literally trained thousands of people over the last several years, I would say that this is the most important training I've ever developed. The most important one, because it comes at a very consequential time in our history, which I'm going to unpack right now in terms of why this moment is so powerful and this training is so needed right now. But specifically, in a nutshell, this specific training is meant to help you to adjust, to evolve as a business in a direction that's going to help you rise above all of the shenanigans that are going on right now in relation to this new administration. Now, maybe I should restate that. It's not going to disappear. This is not magic. This is not fairy dust. This is not, a magic wand. But what it's going to help you do is come to the table better prepared to create your own opportunity. Okay, can I have someone write in the comments for me, create my own opportunity? Okay, and this is critical because we are in a political system that really is about people hoarding opportunity, a very, very small, minute population attempting to hoard opportunities. Honestly, 100%, damn near 100% opportunities in their favor. It's not about people wanting to be fair. Let's just put that on the table here. It's not about that. If there was anybody, I know a lot of people boycotted the speech yesterday. I had to watch it, so you didn't have to. I had to go on and talk about it on the media, so I kind of had to suffer through a lot of that. But one of the areas that most offends me every year, and I had the opportunity actually to have a very deep conversation with Martin Luther King III earlier in the year, and I asked him about this situation, and it happened again yesterday, where people who absolutely have no business, like they have absolutely nothing in common with Martin Luther King's morality, sense of morality, sense of justice, but how those people tend to try to hijack and misappropriate for their own nefarious purposes some of his words every year around MLK Day. And he shared with me how disgusted he was in that practice. Well, yesterday, Trump did that too, right? The little line that they always love saying, judge by the content of your character, not by the color of your skin. They don't really mean that. Lies from the pit of hell. No, they don't. And here's why I can say that so fervently, because we all know that there are built-in biases into the system, which they know exists. The good old boy networks, all those opportunities that people get because they are the son of somebody and the daughter of somebody, and they're helping each other out, and the biases that happen, just generally speaking. All right, that's going to continue to happen. That reality is what created the need for programs like DE&I to open up opportunity for others, right? But now what they can do as they demolish those programs is they can sit here and go by the lie that it's about merit. It was never about merit. Merit is impossible to have when you don't have every potential person on the battlefield to compete against. When you are eliminating huge portions of the population, how can you say that you got anything by merit? You cannot. So they're looking to go back to that. So if you ever had any questions about what do they mean by about, for example, Make America Great Again, they're talking about going back to the days of completely imbalanced doors of opportunity that overwhelmingly favor a small minority of the population. And I'm talking to about specifically straight white men getting the nod in terms of automatically being assumed to be the best option, automatically assumed to be qualified. And even if they're not, there are all sorts of excuses made for it. And I can give you 50 bazillion examples. You don't have to look even further than their own cabinet that's being considered right now, okay? In particular, the person that is being considered for the Department of Defense. But let's even move beyond that. That's not what I'm here to talk about tonight. Tonight, I'm here to talk about why, though, all of these shenanigans that's going on right now impacts your business. Even if you don't work in DE&I, okay, even if you don't sell to the government or to corporations, why should you care? Why does it unpack you? And what's already happened that could hurt you? And number three, what do you need to do now in order to be able to adjust to this new environment? Because this is what it's going to take. At the end of the day, even if you are coming into 2025 having had a wonderful 2024, congratulations. The reality is the field of play has shifted. The field of play has changed. So even doing the things that worked for you in the past, likely, in all likelihood, will not work for you in the future at the same level because the doors of opportunity have shifted. Now, here is what I want to say, okay? Yesterday, after Beelzebub was in fact installed into office, he was quite busy, was he not? He sat at the Resolute desk and he started doing a lot of shenanigans. What you probably heard most about today, and you're probably still hearing about today if you watch traditional news channels, is his pardoning of 1,500 plus violent criminals who attempted to perform a coup on his behalf 4 years ago. Okay. And that is worthy of a lot of media attention. It's egregious. It really sends the signal that his supporters honestly can engage in violence and not expect to face any sort of legal ramifications. With that said, I do want to say to everybody within the realms of my voice, be prepared to defend yourself. Hear me. I'm going a little bit off agenda here, but I just want to say Second Amendment is applicable to all, including you. Be prepared to defend yourself in this season. So with that said, that's the main point I wanted to make there. Be prepared to defend yourself because you may have to. And what's the saying? I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Yeah, that's the saying. Okay. Bam. Okay. So beyond that, that was not, I promise you, that was not the main point I was trying to make, but it's an important point. Okay. It's an important point. I just had to get that out. Okay. Woo, be prepared to defend you and yours. Okay. But that's not the main reason why I'm here tonight. The main reason why I'm here tonight is talk about the other shenanigans that he was involved in yesterday. All right. The other shenanigans that he was involved in yesterday was he carried on the same, honestly, they're implementing Project 2025, that thing that he claimed he didn't know anything about, they're implementing it. So the very first thing on the agenda, good evening, hey, Willetta. The very first thing on the agenda was to undo a whole rack, like dozens and dozens of President Biden's executive orders that he put in place when he was in office. He did the same thing when he came into office before. He undid a whole rack of President Obama's executive orders. And just to give you a little bit about my background, I have a PhD in political science, so I know a little thing about this. If you're wondering what are executive orders, what's going on, why did Biden do executive orders instead of laws, let me give you a little bitty 30-second primers on what they are, why presidents choose to use them, and why not go for legal, go through the process of getting a bill created and making it a law where it'd be more permanent. Here's the thing. Executive orders are kind of like, as the name alludes to, the executive, the president, can, in essence, make a declaration that is put in place, and it almost has the weight of the law, in that the government has to abide by that declaration, but up until and only up until another executive order is issued. It does not have the same weight as law. Like a law is a law is a law, unless it's overturned by the Supreme Court, for example. The executive order is not that, okay? A president can come in, write up an executive order, and then the minute that another president comes in, they can do like what Trump just did and undo the executive order. And if things look better in 4 years, then the next president can come in and undo Trump's executive orders. They just don't have the same weight as law. So why do presidents do that instead of looking to pass laws? They do that because it's much more expedient. I mean, you can see he can go through and do, dozens of these in the matter of minutes, whereas it takes a significant amount of time for a bill to be written and to go through the House, and then to go back and then be passed in the Senate, and then come back to the House and undo and go through reconciliation, which basically means whatever changes were made in the Senate, the House has to approve it and pass it before it then goes to the president, who then signs it into law. So that can be a longer process. It also can be a very difficult process if you have a lot of division in Congress, where there's something that you want to have passed, but you don't think you have the level of support that you need in Congress to actually pass it. The most expedited way to get that thing done is to go to and utilize executive orders, okay? Hope that makes sense, you guys. So that's why someone would do things via executive order rather than passing laws. Well, the very first thing that Trump did, okay, is he went through and he undid 80, okay? 80, yes, 80. Somebody put 80 in the comments for me. 80 executive orders that were developed and implemented during the Biden administration. That was his very first priority. Hey there. Jamaica's in the house, okay? That was his very first priority. Now, hey there, Karen, how you doing? They are reinstating the plantation, Karen, you're exactly right. So here is what you need to know, okay? When he was doing that, I'm going to give you one big guess as to the very first executive order that he reversed. What do you think was the thing that he thought was most important that he needed to reverse as an executive order when he first sat down at the Resolute desk? All right. I'm not going to keep you in limbo and on the edge of your seats very long. I'm going to tell you the exact number of the executive order. By the way, affirmative action was initially put in place via executive order itself. Okay. But here we go. Executive order 13985, which is an executive order that Biden put in place, which sought to advance racial equity and support for underserved communities throughout the federal government. Bam. Bam. A federal health care, that is a law. So he can't really abolish that via executive order. That was a law that went through Congress and was passed and signed into law by President Obama. So it has more weight than an executive order. But absolutely, he got rid of this first executive order, which was about advancing racial equity support for underserved community throughout government. Meaning that, I'm going to break down what this is and what this meant. Honestly, as an aside, if you guys know a little bit about my history, I used to do a lot in the policy advocacy space. And when I was in that world, this is something that I actually asked Obama to do and he didn't. Bam. Giving y'all a little tea here, okay? But basically what this does is it requires that each of the federal um, departments, like the Department of Education, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Labor, all of those different departments, okay? Something like this would require that each and every one of them needs to look at all of the different actions that they are putting into place, and they need to look at it through the lens of race, okay, and ethnicity, to make sure that what they are doing is benefiting people of color at the same level that it would benefit white people, for example. Okay, it requires that it has a positive impact, not just on the few, but on the many. Okay, does this make sense, you guys? All right. So that's the first thing he got rid of. That's the first thing he got rid of. Okay. But he didn't stop there. He didn't stop there, guys. He didn't stop there. Next thing he got rid of was Executive Order 14035, which required diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. So we're talking about people who are differently abled here in the federal workforce. Okay? Got rid of that one. Oh, God forbid that you have a diverse slate of federal workers. God forbid. That was the second thing he got rid of. Third thing he got rid of, Executive Order 14050, which established the White House Initiative on Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Black Americans specifically. Got rid of that. God forbid that Black people have educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunity. God forbid. Now, these were not the only ones that he got rid of. Absolutely, Valerie. He had his own executive orders too. You're exactly right. But these were the first 80 that he basically dismantled from the Biden administration. Okay. So you can definitely sort of undo what was done previously, and then you can create your own. Absolutely. That's what he did to dismantle what was there. Lord knows he didn't create any new ones that did anything for people that look like us. Okay. So why is this important? A couple of reasons why. What this essentially means, if I'm going to boil this down to the simplest way of, explaining this, it is this, okay? What this means is there is zero desire to make sure that those people who are not white and male, right, are represented in terms of the federal workforce, in terms of opportunities to do things like get federal grants or federal support in terms of federal contracts, or anything that's meant to help our businesses, Black businesses specifically. All of these sort of incentives that were written into the way government performs via these executive orders have now been ripped away. And that's not all. As I've explained to you before, it is normal that when a new administration comes into power, there are certain people that get jobs within that administration that are loyal to that administration. So that president will want to hire, they'll oftentimes will hire people to fill certain positions all throughout the government. But in addition to that, there are also people who are civil servants, okay? And civil servants are subject matter professionals who are non-political, meaning that they don't come and go based upon who is elected to office. They have those jobs because they are subject matter experts there. They provide a level of continuity in terms of how the government works. They provide a level of expertise and just long-term sort of brain power in terms of, imagine if, for example, imagine tomorrow if you walked into your job, if you're still working, and everybody that worked there left. And then you're supposed to start on your first day there recreating, figuring out what they did. They didn't leave any SOPs, like none of that. You have to just get up and just start working your job. Would you be able to do that effectively and efficiently and in a competent manner? No, because there is a level of intelligence that you are able to have within an organization when you have people that have been there for a long time and they understand how things work. They have systems down. They teach people who are newer how to do things in a more efficient way so that people don't have to figure all of that out. For all of those reasons, you have professionals called civil servants all throughout the federal system. This man has already said he wants to clean house of those people and only install loyalists. So all of that brain power, all of that expertise, all of those abilities will be gone. Now, let me ask you this question. If he only wants to explain loyalists, if he only wants to install loyalists, and he only wants people who have his specific worldview in those positions, how do you think they would feel about these things? I mean, look at his cabinet. He has the least diverse cabinet in presidential history. What do you think those people will look like that he wants to have all throughout the government? So that means it's going to be largely a whites only civil servants area, right? It's going to be a group of people who are not looking to in any way advance economic opportunity for anyone outside of their little circle. I did a call yesterday. I did not a call, but a television interview yesterday. And the first thing that the journalist asked me about the speech was this issue of his focus on what he called the golden age. And I said, no, I don't think he meant to say golden age. He meant to say the gilded age, because that's what they're trying to recreate here. And if you don't know what the gilded age is, Google it. Okay. We're talking about a time period when you only had the ultra wealthy and the dirt poor. And the ultra wealthy were ultra wealthy because they took everything from everybody else. That's exactly what they're looking to try to create. Okay. Now, what I want you to understand, though, is even though they're trying to go in this direction, they don't have to be successful. We know, though, that outside of the federal government, I have been sharing in my post here lately, certain private institutions, private corporations are following his lead, often probably maybe because they want to, and they've just always wanted to, and they just didn't feel like it was politically savvy for their company to come out and do what they actually wanted to do. So they pretended to have a commitment to DE&I when they never truly did. All right. Then there might be some who just want to curry his favor, so they're following in his footsteps. But I will also say there are also companies, several different companies that are standing up in this time and saying, no, we see the value of having diverse contractors. We see the value of being able to have a diverse workforce. We see the value in those things. And so we're going to stay committed. So I'm using those examples to tell you that though it's happening. It's happening. This is what I said would happen, and it's happening, okay? But it doesn't need to be the end of the world. However, what it does mean is that for the ones that are remaining committed to this effort, there is going to be more competition because there are less options out there. Does this make sense, guys? If you are someone who you don't work with corporations in any capacity, because I'm not just talking about here DE&I professionals, I'm talking about any capacity, because under DEI would be things like contracting opportunities, making sure that you have a diverse set of supplier diversity, for example. That's going to be gone if DEI is gone, okay? So you don't have to be a diversity professional to be impacted by this, okay? If you are someone who has lost your job or you are concerned that you may lose your job, listen, now is the time to get serious about figuring out how can I bring in more revenue to my household over and above whatever job I have, this one, or maybe if I end up having to get another one. Don't have your whole life be in the hands of somebody who tomorrow can decide they just no longer want you, because they're making these decisions about, like, Like, I'm very interested to see what Meta is going to do in terms of its employees. They've already come out to say that they're going to get rid of, I can't remember if it's 3% or 5% of their workforce because they are low performers. And I'm wondering how are they defining low performers? Because they've already come out to say that they're going to end their practice of looking to fill new jobs by looking at a diverse slate of qualified candidates. So they've already said they don't even want to consider qualified people of color. So are they just using this thing about, okay, low performers as an excuse to get rid of people that they didn't want there in the first place? Point is, if you have a way to bring in your own money, you don't have to be totally reliant on that. Also, if you're someone who says, hey, I sell B2C, I don't have to worry about any of this. Yes, you do. Because a lot of the people that you sell to are somehow caught up in this, okay? They may be working at a company where now their job is imperiled. They may have their own business where they rely on contracts from either the federal government or from private industry, right? And so we're all connected in this way. But I do want to say this. We are at a moment in which we have to prepare for the storm. You build the ark before the storm. Do you hear me? Somebody put that in the comments. Build the ark before the storm. The storm is here, but it's not at full steam yet. Okay? So we need to build that ark like yesterday, like starting now. And this is why I didn't want to do a normal training that I normally do at this moment. As important, and I think as great as my trainings normally are. They're pretty damn good if I do say so myself, okay? But I have to say, this is a crisis moment in my community. It's a crisis moment for us. I want you to know they are gunning for your business. They are looking to gut the Black middle class. They're looking to gut the Black business sector. They're looking to undermine your opportunities. And so I did not want to turn a blind eye to the reality of what we're experiencing right now. Instead, I thought, how can I get us together so that we can come up with the opportunity to build this ark before the storm? And as I see it, there are three things that we really need to focus on in this moment, okay? In this moment, we need to think about really, number one, community. We need to think about how do we improve our networks? How do we look within and how do we connect each other to one another in order to be able to grow a pool, a pool that we create ourselves, okay? We also need to, in this moment, elevate our authority, because I will tell you, to the degree that there will be opportunities out there, as I mentioned, there's going to be greater competition. And if there's greater competition, then you need to stand out from the crowd. You need to make the other people that are doing what you do, honestly, appear irrelevant because you are taking up so much space. You are seen as a leader in your space. You are a thought leader. You are a producer. You are someone who actually shows up and shines. And so when someone is looking for someone that does what you do, you are naturally on that short list. That comes by not being invisible. That comes by not being small. That comes by being seen, and being seen in a very powerful, potent, and professional way. How do we uplift your authority and just really just magnify by 1,000 in this moment? Okay. And when you're able to add those things together, increased authority, quality community, and in which you're able to build a network that is strategically developed in order to create and increase your net worth, okay? Guess what? Put those two things together and you begin to create your own pool of opportunity. You then create your own platform, your own oasis of high quality leads from which opportunities will grow. Does this make sense, guys? Is this making sense to y'all? That's right. So this is exactly what I'm going to be sort of unpacking as part of the Revolution 2025, okay? If you have not signed up, I want you to know we get going on Monday. Okay. Time is a ticking. All right. Go to evolutionrevolution2025.com, grab your spot, because this is an opportunity for you to be able to really think critically about what needs to happen now. Build your arc now. And what ways does your business need to evolve now in order to be that greater, that next level version of what you do, so that you can stand out from the others, so that you can be that beacon that other people notice, so that you actually are living in a space in which you do have the flourishing gardens and not the desert when it comes to opportunities. Here is what I will tell you also. If you are someone who, you feel good about where you are, but you just know that you want to pivot to a new area, you need to do everything that I just said. Maybe you decided that, hey, you want to do something different in this next season. You want to do something different in 2025. Well, here's what you need to do. You need to up-level your authority. You need to expand your network in this new space. And when you do those things properly, you're going to create your own new pool of opportunity from which you can fish for sales. You're building your own pond. You teach a man to fish or a woman to fish, right? Instead of giving them the fish. This is teaching you how to build your pond full of fish. Is this making sense, guys? That might not have been the best analogy, but I'm hoping that you get where I'm trying to go with that, okay? Maybe you don't want to switch to something new. Maybe you just want to up level to new people. Maybe you want to look to get a higher level of client. Guess what you got to do, you guys? Same things. Same things. You need to increase your authority. You need to build a new network in that new space that you're looking to up level to. And at the end of the day, when you do those two things correctly, then you're able to create a new pool of opportunity. Does this make sense? Okay. I'm new here. I'm sorry if the challenge about politics. No, the challenge isn't about politics. The challenge is about business. But the reason for the challenge is because politics has created an environment that is going to negatively impact your business if you are not properly prepared to fight for your business in this moment. Okay, great question, Shalon. I hope I'm pronouncing Shalonda. Okay, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Great question. So yeah, this challenge is not about politics. Although, honestly, I will probably talk about politics in it, but that's not the point of the challenge. Outside of the fact that I want you to understand that politics is impacting your environment right now. Politics is impacting your pockets right now. Politics is impacting your opportunities right now. And here's the thing. I feel sorry for those people who are not recognizing this moment, who are acting like this is the same situation that you've always dealt with. This is different. You are welcome, dear. This is different. This is a different moment, and it's creating a different environment, and your business has to be evolved and equipped to thrive and actually just dominate your space in this environment. This will require something different of you. It will require something more from you. It will require a level of intentionality from you. And it will require new connections. It will require new ways in which you are elevated. So all of those things are absolutely necessary. I'll say this one last thing and then I'm gonna let you go for this evening because I don't want to take up your whole evening, but I will say this. I saw something today. Okay, I'm gonna be controversial. I don't want to make anybody mad, but I'm gonna be controversial here. I saw someone today who was talking about how they're not going to worry about who's in the White House because, the creator will provide. Here is what I know. Okay. Here is what I know. Okay. The other side does not think like that. And I'm not going to say it's not true that your creator will provide, but I'm of the belief that God helps those who help themselves. It's the creator provides you with the opportunity for you to go out here and do what you need to do in order to thrive. If you have health, if you have a mind that can work, if you have a body that can move, you have the raw materials to go out here and do what you need to do to adjust for this moment. The creator does not give you an excuse to sit on your butt and do nothing and expect her to just throw things in your lap. I mean, that's what I believe. Okay? That's what I believe. Um, I also believe that it's very interesting that the other side thinks very different about religion, I believe, than we do. There are some of us. Thank you. I'm glad. I was like, thank you. See, Dr. Angeline said, amen, facts. Okay. Nikki says, faith without works is dead. Hello. Absolutely true. All right. Letta says, yes. Here's what I find interesting. I think that a lot of us who are good-hearted people, who are people of faith and good intention, um, we have been our approach sometimes to faith is really focused on this concept of being saved, right? And I understand that. Okay, I understand that, but I want you to understand, when I'm talking about being saved, I'm not talking about being saved in terms of your religion, being someone who lets go of their past and starts to be faithful to a religion. I'm talking about, the focus here is that when we find ourselves in difficult circumstances, we hope, we pray, we expect a savior. We expect someone similar to what I just mentioned to come down from on high and just save us from that situation without us having to put forth any effort. Okay. The other side, what I find is very interesting. Think about this for a minute. They don't think about religion as a savior. Like, they don't think about religion as something where they expect to be saved. They use religion as a tool of empowerment and, shall I say, oppression. They use religion around things like manifest destiny, like God wants me to go out and get that. And it ends up being interpreted in a way in which, honestly, oftentimes they take things from others and then try to say that God told them that they should be able to do that. Here is what and as a result, some people get to have heaven on earth, and some people get to believe that, okay, after I die, then I get to have the things of my desire. I happen to believe that that you have to tap into your faith in a way that is, yes, compassionate, that is, yes, something that helps, that you tie into the goodness of the world and you use it to be generous and helpful for other people. But at the same time, you also have to realize that it's going to require something from you, that actually you have a responsibility to use the gifts that you were given so that you can create something bigger and better for yourself, not only for you and your family, but so that you'll have more resources to help more people. Is this making sense, guys? So I bring all of this up to say, even though you might say, how do we get here? I bring all this up to say is that this is not a time for you to be passive. This is not a time for you to just sit back and say, oh, well, it's politics. What can I do? I'll just wait for the next 4 years. This is a time for you to be active. This is a time for you to use the intelligence that you were given. This is the time that you are to use the work ethic that was bred into you, right? This is the time where you are supposed to use your ingenuity, your creativity, your ability to go out there and slay the dragons that are in front of us at this moment. I want you to understand that you were given gifts and it is your responsibility to use them, not just to sit back and wait for somebody to scoop down and save you. Good luck with that. Now is the time for you to put in action the gifts that you were given. My grandmother used to tell me that if you don't use your gifts, the Creator will give them to somebody else. When I was a little kid, that really kind of scared me. I was like, I better use them. But I have to say, I really think we have to stop waiting for somebody to save us, human or otherwise. If there's anything that this attack has shown us, we have to be equipped, ready, willing, and able to do for ourselves. Period. Uh-huh. It begins at home, but I wouldn't say that there's so much more that we have to worry about than the president, because the president does impact a lot of things that impacts your home. Honestly, there are a lot of things. For example, he's talking about taking away qualified immunity from police. So if you were to go out and get pulled over by the police and he decides that he wants to shoot and kill you, the president has said, this president is saying that there's nothing that should ever happen to that police person. And at the same time, he's just released all these known violent criminals that he basically has told them implicitly that if they show up in your house and do whatever in his name, then they're A-okay. So do not think that the president does not affect your life. Okay? It can affect it in various ways, even outside of economic ways that I'm just talking about today. All of it matters. All of it matters. And my concern is that in this past election, there were a lot of folks who did not vote, who will be hurt by what is going to happen now. And my concern is that because people think that it's not that important, they don't vote. And then we end up in this situation. And then by the time they figure out what is going on, okay, it becomes that much more difficult to undo what was done. I'm concerned because I don't know if you guys saw the clip of Trump on television the other day talking about how Elon Musk knows computers better than anybody else knows computers. And, you know, he was able to do some things to help rig the election. And that's why he's in office now. I am concerned. I am really concerned. I know y'all probably saw by now the Hail Hitler sign that Elon did. Like, this is who is running this government right now. So I'm saying all that to say, no problem. Domnino. Yes. Oh, you're exactly right. You do need to vote more than once every 4 years. Absolutely. I get exactly what you're talking about. State and local level elections will touch your lives exactly, even more powerfully than the federal government sometimes. I mean, that's who determines what your school board looks like. That's what's determined, is your trash going to get picked up on time? So we can't just vote for president. I completely agree with you. We have to vote all up and down the ticket in every election. Okay? It all matters. Money answers all things, but the love of money, the oppressor. Absolutely, Dr. Angeline. Absolutely. I agree, Jay, but isn't it frustrating? He said those that didn't vote shouldn't say nothing. I completely agree, but it's so damn frustrating. John, still haven't forgotten about Donald Trump's comments. We Jamaicans are down to earth people. Okay, I don't remember the down to earth people part, but I remember him talking and spreading those lies about the Haitians. Oh my God. Putting people in danger. Bomb threats, threats of violence were aimed at the Haitian community because of his lies. And so I say all that to say, be prepared, get ready, build the ark before the storm. All right. Once again, this is completely complimentary training, but I want to invite each and every one of you to come. I want you to share this stream. If you've already registered, I want you to invite other people to come that you might know who you think this might be helpful for, because part of what we're doing, even as part of the training, is building community, getting to know one another. A big part of our liberation is going to be by us sharing our networks. That starts now. It starts the minute that you register, okay? I have a group. You're going there. You're going to introduce yourself, and let's start these conversations now. We don't have to wait till Monday. However, I will say we start officially on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So go to evolutionrevolution2025.com. Grab your seat. Much love right back to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you guys next week. Okay. So there is this current uncertainty is heavy and truly reminding us that we are all we have. Oh my God, Missy. So true. So true. And someone said, Jay, pray for this nation. Absolutely. So true. And it is heavy. I've shared with you guys, I am empathic, and that means I can feel energies, and it's heavy. I've noticed lately my energy is just down. I'm a little bit more melancholy than I typically am. I'm sleeping more than I typically sleep. And I think a lot of this just has to do with, honestly, all of the negativity that has been brought into this space by this new administration and all the people that come with it. Because like attracts like. I'm going to tell you, they're going to bring all these new people into the DC area to take these new jobs that they're going to take away from the career people. And they are all of the same, honestly, evil mindset. It is heavy. It's thick, like you're living in this thick fog, right? But in the midst of that, what gives me light, what gives me hope, what gives me inspiration is that I know that we have within us the ability to cut through that fog with our light. And when we work together collectively, right, in order to meet this moment in a way in which we are committed to lifting each other up, I truly believe that we have the ability to create something and to be something for each other that is akin to Anna Julia Cooper's saying about lifting as we climb. And if ever there was a moment that we needed to embody that statement, it is now. It is now. Okay, you are too. So I hear you, Missy. So I know you feel it. Can you share about who you are, the services that you provide? Absolutely, Nikki. So once again, my name is Dr. Avis. I am the 7-figure CEO of an organization called Media to Millions. I help typically service-based providers understand how to create, package and create their expertise into service offerings that they can provide to corporations or to individuals. I teach them how to leverage the media writ large, like television, radio, podcast, as well as digital marketing, social media, for example, to market their businesses properly, and how to sell. So I help people learn how to do that. But I also have a background in politics. That's how I know so much about it, you guys. I actually do have an earned PhD, and unfortunately, in this day and age, you got to make that distinction. And my PhD is in political science. And for many years, I worked in the DC area in the think tank space. So I worked in policy and politics in the Washington, D.C. area for many, many years before I even started my business. And so that's why I know a lot of it about how politics works. And that's also why I know what's about to happen, because I understand the shifts that happen when you have a new administration come into town. And I understand how those shifts trickle down to impact people's lives. Okay. And so what I'm seeing right now is a shift that I know will trickle down in a way that if we are not prepared, here's what I'm saying. We are being targeted. I want y'all to understand we are being targeted. These people do not have good intentions. They are not here to try to expand opportunities for everybody. They are here to make sure that they get as much as they can for themselves and their buddies. Even if you look at what's happened so far, it's kind of ironic, but Vivek Verswamy, I know I'm mispronouncing his name, okay? But you remember the Indian dude who was supposed to be along with Elon Musk running the Doge thing, this new creation that Trump wants to put together that's specifically about supposedly looking at government waste, which is ironic given that Elon Musk gets billions, and I'm saying billions with a B, of dollars from the federal government. They have the nerve to sit here and talk about government waste. How about stop wasting money on giving him contracts? How about that? But that's a whole nother conversation. However, what I will say is that he put them both over that. For Swami, okay, just resigned today. Not even 24 hours into that position. I'm not going to shed any tear for him because he was not an ally of ours. But I will say this: he's not white. And even though he thought he was part of the club, got rid of him with the quickness. Okay. So what I'm saying, you guys, is that once again, y'all saw the Hail Hitler sign that Musk did yesterday. You know that when Trump released people, he also released leaders of white supremacist organizations that were involved with the attack on the Capitol during the last transition. So I say all that to say these are not our friends. They don't want you to be successful. But what I'm telling you is that we don't have to just wait and respond. I'll say this one last thing and I'll let you guys go. Because I keep saying that I'm going to make these things short and I keep on running my mouth. But I will say this because this is a pet peeve of mine. I told you about how the other side, they tend to take a different interpretation on religion. They run it through the lens of manifest destiny. They believe that God has ordained in them that they're supposed to have more and more and more and more. Okay. What I will say though also about the other side is, so what we're experiencing now is what people were warned about during the election. We're experiencing now the implementation of Project 2025. I want you to know that that is something they've been working on for years. And now that they're in office, they have the opportunity to implement. That's why he's moving so quickly with all these executive orders and everything, guys. He's ready. He came in there already with a laundry list of what they wanted to do. Please, please, please. The reason why I am admonishing you to build the ark before the storm is because I have found that those of us on the other side tend to be reactive instead of proactive. Hello. Am I telling the truth, y'all? We tend to be reactive instead of proactive. And so we're always responding to their efforts. Even this is a bit of a response. But what I'm telling you is that don't sit back and wait until you don't have any contracts. Don't sit back and wait until you get the pink slip. Don't sit back and wait until you can't get the federal government grant that you were looking to get. Don't sit back and wait for that. Think proactively and prepare your own garden so that you can grow your own opportunities. That's what I'm talking about. So if you want, in a nutshell, an understanding of what we're going to focus on next week, it is that. How do you grow your own opportunities and be proactive about this thing? Get in front of this thing instead of always just reacting to things after something bad has happened. We've got to get out of the reactive mode and start being proactive and officially and actively creating the reality that we want instead of reacting to the reality that we're given. Does this make sense? Yeah? So I'm going to ask you right now, make sure you make your way over to evolutionrevolution2025.com, right? Sign up. We will get started on Monday. I have so much more to pour into you, but we're going to break it down step by step by step by step, day by day by day by day, because I want you to be equipped to meet this moment in a way that's going to allow you to win, in a way that's going to allow you to dominate your competition, in a way that's going to allow you to leave 2025 in a much better position than when you entered it. And that only happens with forethought, planning, strategy, and action. And that's exactly what we're going to do starting on Monday. All right? So I hope that helps. People without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Absolutely true. Oh, Marcus Garvey is one of my very favorite heroes. Oh my God. Love. And did you hear that President Biden provided for him a posthumous pardon before he left office. All right. So with that said, you all, I am hoping that you all enjoy the rest of your evening. I am hoping that y'all stay warm. It is cold as HE double hockey sticks out here in Maryland. Okay. Wherever you are, I hope y'all stay warm. I hope y'all stay well fed. I hope y'all stay prepared for this fight because it's time for us to fight. And when we fight, we do what? We win. With that said, y'all have a wonderful evening and I will see y'all later. Take care, everybody. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Take care.